Black-owned businesses can now designate themselves. Let me try this again. Businesses can now designate themselves as Black-owned on Google.
Mr. Reagan.
As you can see, I'm out here at Santa Monica, California. I am rollerblading because apparently I'm a homosexual. You can rollerblade and be a straight man if your woman demands that you do so. Yesterday, Valeria was looking on Google Maps and something popped up and said, if you want, you can designate your business as Black-owned. This was, to me, kind of outrageous for a couple of reasons. First of all, you're seeing a lot of businesses looted and burned down recently, as you well know. And this is under the pretense that, the left wants racial justice, right? Racial justice. Sorry, my hand keeps getting in the camera there. I'm trying to block the wind from the microphone. The question is Google facilitating rioters? Are they facilitating public destruction by saying, all right, we know you don't want to burn down the black businesses because the whole point is racial justice. So if you just want to burn down the non-black businesses, if it's a Mexican-owned business, if it's an Asian-owned business, especially if it's a white-owned business, then go ahead and burn it down. But if it's a black-owned business, spare it from the burning. So let's designate all these black-owned businesses so that the looters and rioters don't steal from it or break the windows or burn it down or whatever. To me, that's just unjustifiable racism, pure and simple.
Did you know that after the age of 20, your body produces about 10% less collagen each passing decade? The visible result? Wrinkles, flaky skin, hair loss, and dirty nails as we age. That's why Ageless Multi-Collagen was created. Ageless Multi-Collagen gives you the 5 types of collagen you need from 4 premium sources in this one complete protein mix. This stuff is legit. I take this every day in my chocolate protein shake every morning. It's a great way to start the day. Now, I stopped drinking these shakes for about a week, and I genuinely felt terrible, super tired, and this stuff just helps out a ton. Get Ageless Multi-Collagen for 51% off plus free shipping by going to healthwithreagan.com or by clicking on the link in the description below.
Another thought, more positive you might say, is that, we know there's racial inequality in America, racial injustice, so you might want to support a black-owned business, and therefore you can designate your business as Black-owned on Google Maps so that anybody who wants to support specifically a Black-owned business can do so because it's labeled here on Google Maps. Well, to me, that is also utterly racist, unjustifiable racism. That is just as sinister as trying to keep it from being burned down. Support these. If it's an old couple who've had their business there for 40 years, nice old couple, but they're white, don't buy from them. They're evil white people. You only want to buy from black-owned business. That seems to me utterly disgusting and despicable. I mean, the truth is, I don't think the rioters or the looters care one bit whether a business is black-owned or white-owned or Asian-owned. They're probably still going to loot it if they have the opportunity, or burn it down if they feel so inclined. I don't think any of this is about race at all. I think it's just all about, Marxist division, destruction, anarchy, younger people just wanting a pair of Nikes that they just don't want to pay for, or a Rolex if they can get their hands on it because they can't afford it otherwise, this kind of thing. I think the whole concept of designating a business by the owner's race. I mean, we'd been fighting for a long time, historically, to stop this kind of segregation, right? And now they're trying to reintroduce it? It's crazy. I remember a while back they had some kind of news story about wanting, like some black students at a university or something wanted their own graduation ceremony. Like we wanted a segregated graduation ceremonies, and there's been a push in some corners for segregated dormitories. It's very strange. It's very odd, because it's not coming from really like white supremacists or anybody like that. It's coming from leftists who are pretending that they care about ethnic minorities and stuff like that. Which, I mean, I don't know. But I made a comment on on Twitter the other day that not everybody agreed with, and I was kind of surprised by. I said, the left divides and the right unites. Or I said, Democrats divide and Republicans unite, or something like that. And the reason that I said that was because I made a video a little while ago, probably most of you saw it, about the Soviet Marxists' attempt to create Marxism in America. This organization called Comintern that met in 1928 and made the decision that they weren't going to target the class differences in America because they weren't distinct enough. You had too big of a middle class. And so they decided to focus their attention on the racial differences. So they decided to target black Americans and say, you guys should be resentful of white Americans and should start a race war, essentially. So since 1928, Marxists have been trying to stir up resentment between the races, racial division, racial tension, to create destruction in the country. And we're seeing all of that. We're seeing the sort of culmination of those efforts today in the, with the riots and the looting and the protests and all this. And it's just crazy to me that this has been. There was also another thing. I think it was like Uber Eats, I think recently said that they would do like free delivery for black-owned businesses or something like that. You could get like a deal if you bought food from black-owned businesses specifically. It was terrible. That was like the first social media thing that I just thought, that is reprehensible. But now Google Maps is saying if you're a black-owned business, we'll label you as special. You're special. I remember there was another organization many, many years ago that decided that a particular ethnic group had to define itself specifically. It was Jewish people in Germany in like the 1930s. I don't know if you remember reading about this in history. They had to wear these stars on their jackets to indicate that they were Jewish. That went really well, didn't it? Yeah, I think defining our demographic groups and saying, this group is special and this group is not so special and you should buy stuff from these people only, or, for whatever reason we need to designate these people as different. This is a terrible direction to go. I think Google has made a big mistake here. But here's the crazy thing about all of this. This essentially proves that the United States is not remotely racist against black people. Because think about this for 1 second. Google isn't asking black people to define their businesses as black-owned because they think that it will somehow help white businesses or that it will hurt black businesses. Think about it. If you labeled every single black business on Google as black-owned, and America was as racist as CNN keeps saying that it is, all the black businesses would stop earning money. This would be a really bad thing for black businesses. But obviously Google isn't trying to get black people to designate their businesses as black-owned because they think it will hurt their businesses. They're doing it because they think it will help their businesses. Because at the end of the day, Republicans, we don't care whether your business is black-owned or Jewish-owned or white-owned or Asian-owned or whatever. Even Democrat-owned, we don't care. We'll buy your products if they're good products. We'll pay for your services if they're good services. But Democrats, they're a little bit more racist, right? They will prefer to buy from a black-owned business as opposed to a white-owned business. They will they will treat you preferentially if you are a woman, or if you're black, or maybe if you're Hispanic or Asian, but they will be less preferential. They will maybe refrain from buying from your business if you are, on the contrary, a straight white man. If you're gay, they're all for you. If you're black, they're all for you. If you're a woman, they're all for you. If you're a straight white man, they think, oh, you'll be fine on your own. This country's racist toward your group anyway. There is a kind of expectation, I think, that a straight white man has it easy. If you're straight, if you're white, if you're a man, it's like there are certain kinds of people, Democrats in particular, who believe that the world is basically set up in your favor. This could not be further from the truth, right? But that's what they think. That's what they think. So they try to engineer things the opposite way. They try to engineer things in a way that will make it more difficult for straight white men and easier for women and gay people and black people and things like that. But if that's what they're doing at Google, and I think if you ask Google why they did this, I highly doubt they would say, oh, well, we don't like black people. We want people to be able to avoid those companies. I highly doubt that's why Google did this. Because they think that some people want to support black-owned businesses. But if they thought it would hurt black-owned businesses, they would not have done it. And that's the point. The point is, America is so not racist that Google felt that encouraging black people to designate their businesses as black-owned would in fact help them. So Google, you have in fact proved the point of Republicans like me, stuff that we've been saying for years, that America is not the hotbed of white racism that CNN claims that it is. And it's just a lot of disinformation. It's just a lot of propaganda and nonsense. So in a way, I guess I get to thank Valeria. I get to thank Google for proving my point, even though they've done it in such a way that it is, you can kind of see the ocean in my sunglasses. That's interesting. They've done it in a way that is totally racist, totally insidious, vicious, nasty, hateful, bigoted. Darling, would you like to explain what you think the problem is with Google designating businesses as black-owned?
I don't know.
Oh, I think there's wind, so I gotta block it.
I don't know.
It's not good though, right?
No comments. Yes.
No comments. It's not good. But I mean, I don't know. It just bugs me. I guess if you're a racist and you love black people and you hate white people, this is good for you because you can avoid businesses that aren't black. And if you're a racist and you don't like black people, this is good for you because you can avoid businesses that are black. But for all of us people who don't care what your race is, to me, this is utterly unacceptable. Now, I'd like to hear what you guys have to say in the comments section below, because to me, I hate this. I hate that Google did this in terms of principle, but I like that they did it in the sense that it kind of proves my point. But anyway, I'm curious what you guys think about it. These are just my initial thoughts about the Google racism, the new Google racism thing. What?
At the same time, they should make like immigrant-owned or women-owned, like all of this labels, like different people, different races, different immigration status, not just black-owned. It's too like just the one black-owned. That's it. What about white-owned? What about
Yeah. Why don't they designate
Jewish-owned?
Jewish-owned? Yeah, that's the thing. Think about if they had put, instead of doing black-owned, what if they had said you can label your business as white-owned. This is a white-owned business. Let's all buy white people's goods and services, and try to neglect all the Asians and the blacks and the Jews and everybody else. If you're a good white Christian, you can put that on Google Maps so you can let everybody know this is a shop that you should support. everybody would be like, oh, that's racist, that's horrible, that's evil. But black-owned somehow is okay because Black Lives Matter and Antifa and Marxism. The left is out to divide. The right is out to unite because conservative political ideas are based on principles and leftist political ideas are based in identity politics and defining some groups over others because of resentment and, victim status and all this kind of nonsense. Anyway, curious what you guys have to say in the comments below. All right, I will see you guys in the next video. And remember, it's not that our liberal friends are ignorant, it's just that they know so much that isn't so. Good night.
I want to hear only, is it morally right? And on that basis and that basis alone, we make a decision on every issue. I am eternally optimistic, and I happen to believe that we've made great progress from the days when I was young and when this country didn't even know it had a racial problem.